My name is Maya. I am 22 years old. I live in Canada now, but I am not from here. I moved here 1 year ago to study English. I came alone. My family is still back home. I miss them every day. This morning, I woke up early. I looked outside the window. The sky was gray. It was cold. I had to travel to another city for a job interview. It was my first time going there. I was nervous. I did not want to be late. I took a shower, got dressed, and made a cup of tea. I packed my bag. I checked everything. My phone, my ID, and my train ticket. I looked at the time. I had to go. I put on my warm coat and left the apartment. The train station was not far. I walked slowly. My boots made small sounds on the wet ground. The street was quiet. I saw some people waiting at the bus stop. No one looked at me. I looked down and walked faster. When I reached the station, I looked around. There were many people. Some had big bags. Some had coffee. Some were standing in line. The train was coming in 20 minutes. I looked at my phone. My train was number 306. It said Platform 2. I looked for a sign. I saw Platform 1. Then I saw Platform 3. I walked left, then right. I still could not find Platform 2. I felt my heart beat faster. I saw a woman near the coffee shop. She looked kind. She was not busy. I wanted to ask her, but I did not. I looked away and kept walking. I was too afraid. What if she did not understand me? What if I said something wrong? What if she laughed? My English was not bad, but it was not good. I felt small. I felt like a child. Then I saw Platform 2. I felt a little better. I walked to it and waited. I looked at my phone again. My hands were cold. I put them in my coat pockets. I looked at the people around me. No one smiled. No one talked. The train came. I followed the others and got on. I found a seat near the window. I sat down. My bag was on my lap. I looked at the screen inside the train. It showed stop names, but the names changed too fast. I could not read them all. I looked outside. The train started moving. Trees and buildings passed by. I looked at the map on my phone. My stop was Brimley. I had to get off there. I tried to listen to the voice in the train, but it spoke too fast. I only heard part of the words. I wanted to ask someone, "Is Brimley coming soon?" But I said nothing. The man near me was busy on his phone. The woman across from me was reading. I did not want to bother them. I stayed quiet. The train stopped. I looked out. It was not my stop. The train moved again. It stopped again. Still not my stop. I looked at the screen, but I did not see the word Brimley. I looked at the window. I saw snow falling. My hands felt cold again. I took a deep breath. Then the train stopped again. I looked outside. The sign said East View. My eyes grew wide. East View was after Brimley. I missed my stop. I stood up. I got off the train. I was shaking a little. I felt hot and cold at the same time. The wind was strong outside. I held my coat tight. I looked around. The station was small. It was very quiet. I walked to a bench. I sat down. I took out my phone. I opened the map. It did not load. I waited. Still nothing. My phone was slow. The signal was bad. I looked at the train times. The next train was in 25 minutes. I wanted to cry, but I didn't. I just sat there. I felt stupid. I felt like a failure. Why didn't I ask for help? Why didn't I say something? I was angry with myself. I wanted to go home. I wanted to hide. Then I heard a voice. "Are you okay?" It was a woman. She had short brown hair and a blue coat. She looked calm. She looked friendly. I looked up at her and tried to speak. "I missed my stop," I said. My voice was quiet. "Oh no," she said. "Where were you going?" "Brimley," I said. She smiled. "That's just 2 stops back. You're close. Don't worry." I nodded. I looked down again. "Do you want help getting back?" she asked. I waited a second. Then I said, "Yes. Thank you." "The next train comes soon," she said. "You can take it with me. I will show you where to get off." I looked at her. She was kind. She did not laugh. She did not speak too fast. She made me feel calm. I felt something inside me change. Just a little. "Thank you," I said again. My voice was a little louder this time. She sat next to me. We waited for the train. She did not talk much, but she smiled. That was enough. I looked at the snow falling. I felt a little better. After 10 minutes, the train came. We got on together. She sat beside me. She watched the stops. I looked out the window. This time, I was not afraid. I still felt nervous, but I was not alone. 1 stop passed, then another. The train stopped again. "This is Brimley," she said. I smiled. "Thank you so much." "You're welcome," she said. "Have a good day." I got off the train. I walked out of the station. I still had time. The interview was in 1 hour. I took a deep breath. I made it. I was proud of myself. That day, I learned something. It is okay to ask for help. People can be kind. I don't have to be perfect. I just have to try. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. I walked out of the train station. The snow was falling slowly. The street was quiet. I looked around. The buildings looked tall. Everything was new to me. I checked the address again on my phone. The place for the interview was not far. It was only a 10-minute walk. I started walking. The ground was wet. My boots made small sounds on the sidewalk. I held my bag tight. My hands were still cold, but I felt a little better now. I thought about the woman from the train. I did not know her name, but I would not forget her face. She helped me when I felt lost. She made me feel safe. Just one kind person changed my whole day. I turned right at the next street. I saw a tall building with a blue sign. That was the place. I checked the time. I was early. I stood near the door and took a deep breath. I was still nervous, but I was here. I did not turn back. That was already a big step for me. I walked inside. The lights were bright. I saw a small waiting area with a few chairs. There was no music, just quiet sounds. I sat on one of the chairs. My heart was beating fast again. I looked around. One man was sitting across from me. He was reading something. I looked down at my phone. 10 minutes passed. Then a woman came. She had short black hair and glasses. She smiled and said, "Are you here for the interview?" I stood up. "Yes," I said. "My name is Maya." "Nice to meet you, Maya," she said. "Come with me." I followed her down a short hallway. My boots made soft sounds on the floor. We entered a small room. There was one table and 2 chairs. I sat down. I held my bag on my lap. She sat across from me. "My name is Erin," she said. "Thank you for coming today." "Thank you," I said. My voice was quiet, but clear. She smiled. "Let's start. Can you tell me something about yourself?" I took a breath. I looked at her eyes. She did not look scary. She looked calm. That helped me speak. "I am from India," I said. "I moved to Canada 1 year ago. I study English. I am looking for part-time work. I want to work and learn more." "Have you worked before?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "In my country, I worked in a small shop. I helped with packing and cleaning." "Good," she said. "This job is at a warehouse. You will help with boxes and some cleaning. It's part-time. 3 days a week." I nodded. "Yes, that is okay for me." She looked at a paper in front of her. Then she asked, "Can you lift boxes? Some are heavy." "Yes," I said. "I can lift them." She smiled again. "Do you speak French?" "No," I said. "Only English." "That's fine," she said. "English is okay for this job." I felt better. Her voice was soft. Her words were not fast. I could understand her. I felt more sure with every question. Then she asked, "Do you have questions for me?" I stopped for a second. I wanted to ask something, but I felt that fear again. What if my question was wrong? What if I said it badly? But this time, I said it anyway. "What time does the work start?" I asked. She smiled. "Good question. Work starts at 9 a.m. You finish at 1 p.m. I nodded. "Thank you." We talked a little more. Then she stood up. I stood too. "Thank you, Maya," she said. "We will call you in 2 days." "Okay. Thank you for your time," I said. She walked me back to the front. I said goodbye and stepped outside. The cold air touched my face. The snow had stopped. The street looked the same, but I felt different now. I walked back toward the train station. My feet were tired, but my heart was light. I did not know if I got the job, but I was proud of myself. I found the place. I spoke English. I asked a question. That was not easy for me, but I did it. At the station, I waited for the train. I sat on a bench. I looked at the people around me. One woman was holding a small child. A man was drinking coffee. I watched them and smiled. They all looked so normal, so calm. Maybe one day I would feel that way too. The train came. I got on. I found a seat by the window again. This time, I was not afraid. I looked at the screen. I watched the stop names slowly. I could read them now. I knew where I was going. At one stop, a young girl came on the train. She looked confused. She stood near the door and looked around. She was holding a map in her hand. She looked at the screen, then at the map again. I watched her for a minute. She looked lost, just like me this morning. She sat across from me. She looked up and gave a small smile. I smiled back. Then I asked her, "Do you need help?" She looked surprised. "Yes," she said. "I need to go to Westbrook. Is this the right train?" I nodded. "Yes, this train goes to Westbrook. I can tell you when it comes." Her face relaxed. "Thank you," she said. "You're welcome," I said. My voice was calm. We rode the train together for a while. I told her when her stop came. She said thank you again before she got off. I sat back and looked out the window. I was quiet, but inside I felt proud. Today, I helped someone. I spoke first. I used my words. I remembered how it felt to be afraid. Now, I was the one giving help. The train moved forward. So did I. The train moved slowly. I sat near the window and watched the city pass by. I saw people walking. I saw cars and shops. Everything looked busy. but inside, I felt calm. I was tired, but I was okay. This day was not easy, but it was good. I checked my phone. It was almost 4 o'clock. I still had time before dinner. I decided to stop at a small market near my home. I needed eggs, milk, and bread. I wanted to cook something warm. My body felt cold from walking all day. When I got off the train, I walked slowly. The ground was still wet. I passed the park near my street. Some children were playing. They laughed and ran around. Their boots splashed water. A woman sat on a bench and watched them. She smiled. I smiled too. That small moment made me feel better. At the market, I picked up what I needed. I stood in line. The woman at the counter said hello. I said hello back. She asked, "Did you find everything?" "Yes," I said. "Thank you." She smiled. "Cold day, huh?" "Yes," I said again. "Very cold." I paid and left. The wind touched my face again. I pulled my coat tighter. My fingers were cold. I walked fast. I could see my building now. My apartment was on the 3rd floor. When I got home, I turned on the heater. I took off my coat and boots. My feet hurt, but it was a good kind of pain. I made tea and sat at the table. I put my phone down and looked out the window. I started to think about everything that happened today. I thought about the woman who helped me at the station. I thought about the interview. I thought about the young girl on the train. So many small things happened, but they felt big to me. Last year, I could not speak to anyone. I was always afraid. I stayed quiet. I smiled but said nothing. At school, I listened. At home, I watched videos and read simple books. But I did not talk to people. Not really. Today was different. Today I asked questions. I answered questions. I helped someone. I looked people in the eye. I used my voice. I was not perfect. I still made mistakes. But I tried. And I was not afraid. I finished my tea. I cooked dinner. I made rice and eggs with a little soup. I ate slowly. I watched a show on my laptop while I ate. The show was in English. 1 year ago, I needed subtitles. Today, I could understand most of it. After dinner, I cleaned up. I sat on my bed and looked at my phone. No message yet about the job. But that was okay. I was happy I went. That was enough for now. That night, I slept well. I did not wake up many times like before. My body was tired, but my mind was quiet. I felt safe. 2 days later, my phone rang. It was a number I did not know. I answered. "Hello?" I said. "Hi, is this Maya?" "Yes. This is Aaron from the warehouse job. We spoke on Monday." "Yes, hello. I'm calling to say we would like to offer you the job." Can you start next Monday? I was quiet for 1 second. I was surprised. I did not think I would get it, but I did. Yes, I said. Thank you so much. You're welcome, she said. Come at 8:45 on your first day. I'll meet you at the front. Okay. I will be there. We said goodbye. I put down my phone and smiled. My heart felt full. I had a job now. It was part-time, but it was something. I could work. I could meet people. I could learn more. I wanted to call my mother. I wanted to tell her. But it was late in my country. I sent her a message and said, I got the job. I will call you tomorrow. A few minutes later, she replied, I am proud of you. I knew you could do it. That message made me cry. Just a little. Not because I was sad. I was happy. So happy. I missed her voice, but her words were enough. I read her message again and again. The weekend passed slowly. I prepared for work. I washed my clothes. I packed my lunch for the first day. I cleaned my room. I felt ready. On Monday morning, I woke up early. I got dressed and ate a small breakfast. I took the train. I watched every stop carefully. I did not miss it this time. I got off at Brimley and walked to the warehouse. Erin was waiting at the door. She smiled when she saw me. Good morning, Maya. Good morning, I said. She showed me the locker room and the work area. The building was big and clean. I met 2 other workers. Their names were Ben and Sarah. They were kind. They said hello and helped me understand what to do. My job was to check boxes and place them in the right area. Some boxes were light, some were heavy. I took my time and did everything slowly. I did not rush. At lunch, we sat at a table in the break room. Ben talked about movies. Sarah talked about her dog. I listened. Sometimes I spoke. Sometimes I stayed quiet. But I felt part of the group. That was a good feeling. At the end of the day, Erin said, Good work today, Maya. See you Wednesday. Thank you, I said. See you then. I walked back to the station. I was tired, but I was smiling. My hands were cold again, but I didn't mind. I was proud. In the evening, I called my mother. I told her everything. She listened. She asked many questions. I laughed. She laughed. That phone call felt like home. Over the next few weeks, I worked 3 days a week. I learned names. I learned new words. I learned how to speak without fear. Not every day was easy. Some days were hard. But I kept going. One day after work, Sarah said, Your English is getting better. I smiled. Thank you. I'm trying. You're doing great, she said. That small sentence meant a lot to me. I didn't say much after that. But inside, I felt happy. I felt strong. One Saturday morning, I went back to the same train station. I stood near the map on the wall. I looked around. Everything looked easy now. It was not scary anymore. I saw a young woman holding her phone. She looked confused. She was trying to find the right platform. I walked over to her. "Do you need help?" I asked. She looked surprised. "Yes," she said. "I don't know where to go." I smiled. "Let me help you." We walked together. I showed her the right sign. She said thank you many times. I said, "It's okay. I was like you before." She looked at me. "Really?" "Yes," I said. "You're doing great." She smiled. I smiled back. Then we both went to our trains. That moment stayed in my heart. I knew how she felt. I understood her fear, but I also knew she could be okay, just like I was. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon. My name is Leah. I am 15 years old. I live in London with my mother and my grandma. My mom works at a small shop. My grandma stays home and watches TV. Our flat is small. It has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a tiny kitchen. It is not big, but it is quiet. Too quiet sometimes. My real dad left when I was 5. I do not remember his voice. I do not remember his smell. But I remember his face. He had kind eyes and dark hair. He used to carry me on his shoulders. In one photo, I am laughing and holding his ears. I look so happy in that photo. I keep it in a red book on my shelf. When I was little, I asked my mom, "Where is Dad?" She always said the same thing. "He's gone, Leah." That's all. I wanted more. I wanted to know why he left. Did I do something wrong? Was I too noisy? Too messy? My mom never gave answers. She just closed her eyes and said, "Don't ask about him." So I stopped asking. But I never stopped thinking about him. Every time I saw a dad with his daughter at the park, I felt something cold in my chest. At school, when we made Father's Day cards, I sat still. My teacher once said, "You can make one for your granddad." I smiled, but it didn't feel right. I didn't want to lie. I didn't want to pretend. At night, I sometimes stared at the ceiling and whispered, "Dad, where are you?" I didn't expect an answer, but I still spoke. I felt like maybe, just maybe, he could hear me. Sometimes I dreamed of him. In my dreams, he held my hand. He said, "I'm sorry." Then he faded away. One Saturday morning, I was cleaning my room. I found an old box under the bed. Inside, I saw some of my baby clothes and toys. Under the soft blue blanket, there was a letter. It had no envelope, just one page. The paper was yellow and folded. I opened it with shaking hands. The letter was from him, from my dad. The date said March 2014. That was the year he left. My heart raced as I read. Dear Leah, I'm sorry I can't stay. Your mom and I don't agree on many things. But please know this. I love you. You are my little star. I wish I could take you with me, but I can't. I don't want to fight. I hope you'll grow up strong and kind. I'll think about you every day. Love, Dad. I read the letter 3 times. Then I sat on the floor and cried. I did not know what to think. He said he loved me, but he still left. He said he thought of me, but he never called, never sent a card, nothing. For 10 years, I waited for nothing. That evening, I went to my mom. I held the letter in my hand. She was washing dishes. I stood in the doorway and said, I found something. She turned around. Her eyes looked tired. I gave her the letter. She didn't speak. She read it slowly. Then she put it on the table and sat down. I didn't want you to read that, she said. Her voice was soft. Why? I asked. My voice shook. Because it would only hurt you more, she said. I felt my throat tighten. He said he loved me, I said. She nodded. Maybe he did. But love isn't always enough, Leah. He left. That's what matters. I wanted to yell. I wanted to ask her why she never told me more, but I didn't. I just stood there, feeling small. My mom looked at me. I didn't hide the letter to be cruel, she said. I did it to protect you. I didn't answer. I walked back to my room and closed the door. That night, I lay in bed holding the letter. My heart felt heavy. Was I angry? Yes. Was I sad? Also yes. But most of all, I felt confused. How can someone say they love you and still leave? The next morning, I didn't want to eat. My grandma sat with me in the living room. She turned off the TV and looked at me. You found the letter, didn't you? She asked. I was surprised. You knew? I asked. She nodded. Yes. He gave it to me when he left. I was supposed to give it to you when you were older, but your mom said no. I looked down. My hands were cold. Why did he leave? I asked. My grandma sighed. It wasn't one thing. He and your mom argued a lot. Money, jobs, other things. He was not a bad man, but he was weak. He didn't know how to stay. I swallowed hard. Did he ever call? She shook her head. Not once. I felt a tear run down my cheek. Then maybe he didn't really love me. My grandma reached for my hand. No, Leah. People can love and still fail. That's the sad part. Later that day, I walked to the small park near our flat. I sat on the swing and watched the trees. A father pushed his daughter on the swing next to me. She laughed and shouted, "Higher, Daddy!" I smiled, but it hurt. I looked up at the sky and whispered, I miss you. I didn't know what the future would bring, But I knew one thing now. Missing someone doesn't stop just because they are gone. Sometimes it grows even bigger, like a quiet space inside your heart. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. The next few days were quiet. I didn't talk much at school. I didn't laugh with my friends. I didn't answer many questions in class. My teachers didn't say anything, but I knew they noticed. Even Anna, my best friend, asked, "Are you okay?" I told her I was fine, but I wasn't. At night, I kept reading the letter from my dad. I read it so many times that I almost knew it by heart. I placed it inside my red notebook and kept it under my pillow. I couldn't stop thinking about him. Where was he now? Did he live far away? Did he have another family? Did he still think about me? One evening, I went online and typed his name into the search bar. I didn't expect to find anything, but after a few clicks, I saw a photo. It was old, but I knew it was him. He had the same eyes, the same hair, the same smile. The photo was part of a work website. It said he lived in Manchester now. He worked as a delivery driver. That was all I could find, but it was enough to make my hands shake. I printed the photo and looked at it for a long time. Then I put it next to the one from when I was little. 2 photos. One from the past. One from now. I stared at both and whispered, "Why did you leave me?" The next morning, I went to my grandma and said, "I found him." She looked surprised but calm. "You searched for him?" she asked. I nodded. "He's in Manchester," she sighed. "I thought you might do that one day." I looked at her and asked, "Do you think I should write to him?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "Only if you're ready, and only if you can accept the answer, even if it's silence." I spent the rest of that day thinking. I went to the park, sat on my usual bench, and started writing a letter. I didn't know what to say, so I started simple. "Dear Dad, my name is Leah. I'm your daughter. I'm 15 now. I found the letter you wrote to me when I was 5. I read it over and over. I wanted to ask you, why? Why did you go? Did you ever think of me? I don't hate you. I just want to understand. Leah." I didn't send it right away. I kept it in my notebook. I showed it to Anna at school. She read it slowly, then looked at me and said, "That's really brave." I shrugged. "I don't know if I'll send it." She gave me a soft smile. "Even writing it helps. You said what's in your heart." 1 week passed. Then 2. I kept the letter but didn't do anything. One night my mom came into my room. She saw the letter on my desk. She picked it up and read it. I froze. I waited for her to yell or get upset, but she didn't. She sat down on my bed and said, "I was scared too, you know." I looked at her. Scared of what? She looked tired. Scared that you would choose him, that you would love him more, that I would be left behind. Her voice broke. I know that's selfish, but I felt small when he left, and I didn't want you to feel that same pain. I blinked slowly, but I already did. She reached for my hand. I'm sorry, Leah. I didn't handle it right. I should have talked to you more. I should have told you the truth. I pulled my hand away gently. It's too late for that now. She nodded. I know. But maybe it's not too late to do better. That night, I took out the letter, found an envelope, and wrote his name on it. I searched for his work address online and copied it down. My hands were shaking, but I knew I had to do it. I placed the envelope in my school bag. The next day, I dropped it into the post box outside the shop near school. After that, every day felt long. I watched the mailbox. I waited for a reply. 2 weeks passed. Then 3. Still nothing. I started to believe I would never hear from him. Maybe he threw the letter away. Maybe he forgot about me. Or maybe he just didn't care. One Friday afternoon, I came home from school and found a small white envelope on the table. It had my name written in blue ink. I looked at my grandma. She gave me a small nod. I picked it up with shaking hands and walked to my room. I closed the door and sat on my bed. The letter was short. Dear Leah, I don't know what to say. I never thought you'd write to me. I'm sorry I left. I was scared and confused. I didn't know how to be a father. But I never stopped thinking about you. I still have your baby photo in my wallet. I'm proud of you. If you want to write again, here's my number. Love, Dad. I stared at the page. My hands were cold. My chest felt warm. He had replied. After 10 years, he had replied. I read the letter again and again. I memorized every word. My eyes filled with tears, but this time they weren't just sad. They were something else too. Relief. Hope. That night, I showed the letter to my mom. She read it and said nothing for a while. Then she looked at me and said, I'm glad he wrote back. I didn't expect that. I looked at her. You are? She nodded. Yes. I think you deserve answers. And maybe he's ready now. Later, I messaged the number he gave. I wrote, Hi, this is Leah. Thank you for your letter. I waited. 10 minutes later, he replied, Hi, Leah. Thank you for writing to me. Would you like to talk sometime? My fingers shook as I typed. Yes, I think I would. We didn't call right away. We messaged first. He asked about school, about what I liked, about my favorite food. He sent a photo of his cat. I sent a picture of my drawing. Slowly, carefully, we started to build something. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. I didn't forgive everything at once. I still had questions. I still had pain. But I started to believe that maybe he really did care. And maybe, just maybe, he didn't forget me after all. Weeks passed, and I kept texting with my dad. At first, the messages were short, just 1 or 2 sentences. He always replied quickly. That made me smile. He asked about school, my hobbies, my favorite music. I learned that he liked coffee with milk and sugar, and that he still listened to old jazz music in his car. He sent me photos of the places he delivered to. One day, he even sent a picture of the sky and said, "Thought of you when I saw this." I didn't tell many people. Just Anna and my grandma knew. My mom knew we were talking, but she didn't ask much. Sometimes she looked sad. I think part of her still felt afraid. But she didn't stop me. That meant a lot. One Sunday, my dad sent a message that made my heart race. He wrote, "Would you ever want to meet me in person?" I read it 3 times before I answered. Then I wrote, "Maybe," but I'd feel nervous. He replied, "Me too. But we could take it slow. Just a coffee or a walk. You can bring someone if you want." I thought about it for days. I talked to my grandma. She said, "It's your choice, love. No pressure. But if you want to go, I'll go with you." That made me feel safe. I told Anna too, and she smiled. "I think you're very brave," she said. So we picked a day. It was a Saturday. He said he'd come to London. We chose a small park near my house. Not too busy, not too far. He said he would wear a green jacket so I could see him easily. The morning of the meeting, I felt sick. My hands were cold. My legs felt weak. I changed my clothes 3 times. I brushed my hair, then brushed it again. My grandma held my hand and said, "Breathe, Leah. Just breathe." We walked to the park together. It was a cloudy day, but the rain held back. I sat on a bench near the old swings and waited. Every time someone passed, I looked up. Then I saw him. A tall man in a green jacket, holding a coffee cup. He looked just like the photos. My heart beat so fast I thought it might stop. He walked toward us, slowly, like he didn't want to scare me. When he reached the bench, he smiled and said, "Hi, Leah." I stood up. My voice was stuck for a second. Then I said, "Hi." He looked at my grandma and gave a polite nod. "Hello, Mrs. Young." She smiled a little and said, "Call me Helen." We sat together on the bench. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then he said, "You've grown so much." I laughed softly. "It's been 10 years. He nodded. "Too long." He looked nervous. I could tell he didn't know what to say next. So I helped him. "Thanks for writing back," I said. "And for coming today." He looked at me carefully. "Thank you for giving me the chance. I never thought I'd hear from you." I wanted to ask him so many things. Why didn't you call? Why didn't you come back? But I didn't ask those yet. I just said, I have questions, but not today. He smiled. That's okay. I'll answer them when you're ready. We talked for about an hour. He told me about his job, his flat, his cat named Oliver. I told him about school, my drawings, my grandma's cooking. He laughed when I said she made the best toast in the world. She always made the best tea, too, he added. We laughed together. That was the strangest part. It felt like I knew him and didn't know him all at once. After the meeting, he said, Can we do this again? I nodded. Yes, I'd like that. Before he left, he pulled something from his pocket. It was a small necklace, a silver heart. I bought this a few years ago, he said. I didn't know if I'd ever get to give it to you. I took it gently. It was simple, but beautiful. Thank you, I whispered. That evening, I told my mom everything. I expected her to be angry or sad, but she wasn't. She just listened. When I finished, she said, I'm glad you had a good day. I looked at her. I still love you too, you know, I said. Even if I talk to him. Her eyes filled with tears. And I love you, Leah. Always. After that, things slowly changed. I met with my dad again. We went for walks, sat in cafes, talked more. I still lived with my mom and grandma, but I saw him about once a month. Each time it got easier. I started to ask questions. Hard ones. Why didn't you call? He said. I was ashamed. I didn't think I had the right. I said, but you were my dad. He nodded. I know. And I'm sorry I didn't act like one. I told him how I felt all those years, how I cried when I saw other girls with their dads, how I thought maybe he didn't love me. He looked down and said, I deserve that. But please know, Leah, I thought about you every single day. I believed him. I could see it in his eyes. One afternoon, we walked through the park again. The same park where we met the first time. He looked at me and said, You've grown into an amazing young woman. I smiled. You helped too. He shook his head. No, Leah. That was all you. Back at home, I started writing more. I filled pages in my red notebook. Not just about pain, but about hope, about change, about love. One page said, I am not just the girl whose father left. I am also the girl who found him again. At school, I gave a speech in English class. The topic was family. I stood in front of the class and said, Family can break you, but it can also heal you. Sometimes both things happen at the same time. My teacher gave me a smile. I got an A. One evening, my dad came to our flat for tea. My mom made pasta. My grandma served her best lemon cake. It was a little awkward at first, but we sat together at the table, shared food, and talked. not about the past, just about now. And that was enough. That night, as I lay in bed, I held the silver necklace in my hand. I thought about the girl I was before, the one who cried at night, the one who felt invisible. She was still part of me. But now, there was something new. A voice, a light, a stronger heart. I still missed the years we lost. I still wished things had been different. But I didn't feel empty anymore. I didn't feel forgotten. I had found something I thought I would never have again. My father. Not perfect. Not always present. But real. And more than anything, I found something else too. I found peace. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.